Hello, back again on the Top Recap channel. This time I will tell a movie's entitled The System. Let's get straight into the storyline. The movie begins by showing a place where drugs are made. A masked man approaches the place and attacks everyone there. It turns out that the masked man aims to take all the drugs in the place, and then he will resell them. After paralyzing everyone, the man immediately fled from there. Unfortunately, there were many police officers outside who immediately surrounded the man, and then arrested him. During interrogation, the police learned that the man was Terry Savage, a former war Marine. Savage had earned many medals for his achievements in Iraq and Afghanistan. It wasn't long before Police Chief Clark arrived, and Clark regretted that Savage, a former war Marine, was now a criminal. Savage replied that he did all this out of necessity. After retiring from the military, Savage did not receive any benefits from the government. Savage also applied to several companies but was always rejected. Meanwhile, Savage desperately needed money for the medical expenses of his little daughter, who had to be operated on as soon as possible. In the end, Savage was forced to rob drugs from these people to resell them. Hearing this, Clark said that now he had a job for Savage, which was to put Savage in prison to expose all the warden's crimes in the prison. The FBI and police have been suspicious of the warden all this time because, in prison, there are a lot of inmates who suddenly die without cause. Besides that, they suspect the warden of being a drug dealer who works with the mafia. If Savage could carry out this secret mission, Clark promised that the government would cover all the costs of Savage's child surgery and give Savage money. To save his daughter's life, Savage agreed to do the job. Soon after, Savage was taken to the prison with other prisoners. There, Savage and other newly arrived prisoners were gathered and injected with a liquid chip to monitor every movement of the prisoners. Until finally, all new prisoners were taken to their respective cells. When Savage was about to be put into the cell, it was seen that the prisoners immediately mocked Savage. Arriving in the cell, Savage found a cell phone in a magazine. When the cell phone was opened, a message was seen saying that the cell phone was deliberately sent by Clark so that Savage could quickly report all the crimes of the chief warden. The next day, when Savage was about to have breakfast, he was suddenly approached by a prisoner, who immediately asked Savage to kowtow to him. After that, Savage went to the prison field. There, Savage was approached by a prisoner named Freeway, who immediately invited him to join his gang. In the afternoon, when Savage was mopping up one of the rooms, he saw Freeway, who was attacked by several other prisoners. Seeing this, Savage realized that Freeway was not an ordinary prisoner. When Savage was in his cell, it was now his turn to be attacked by the group of prisoners he had spat on earlier. And then the warden came to break them up. Not long after that, Savage was taken by the warders to face the head warden named Lucas. There, Savage realized that Lucas was Savage's main target in this secret mission. Then, Lucas said that he intended to recruit Savage to become his fighter, because Lucas knew that Savage was a former war Marine who was quite respected in the military. Lucas also explained that this prison has a basement that he uses as a fighting arena for prisoners. If Savage was willing to be Lucas's fighter, then Lucas promised to reduce Savage's sentence. However, if Savage refused, Lucas ensured Savage would never escape this prison. In the end, Savage agrees to Lucas's request because Savage's purpose in entering the prison is to find all the crimes committed by Lucas and report them to Clark. After that, Savage was escorted back to his cell by a female warden. Arriving in the cell, there was already a prisoner who had previously helped Savage, the man named Bones. At this time, Savage was deliberately in the same cell as Bones for his safety. Then, Bones said he had been in this prison for 4 years, since Lucas served as head warden. This prison always fights its prisoners, until one of them dies. Hearing this, Savage went to the toilet, and reported all the information he had just obtained to Clark. The next day, Bones brought Savage back to hone his skills in the gym. After that, Bones also told him which prisoners would be Savage's opponents in the fight later. At night, Savage was taken to the basement because tonight there would be a fight between Savage and other prisoners. Arriving there, it turns out that there is currently a fight between Freeway and one of the other prisoners. The fight was deliberately broadcast live to all the prisoners there. Lucas, the head warden, was also watching the fight. After Freeway won his battle, it was Savage's turn to fight the Mexican prisoner. Seeing Savage win the fight, Lucas was very happy because now he had a new fighter to rely on. After the fight was over, Freeway was seen meeting Lucas. Freeway asked Lucas to release him immediately because Freeway had won the fight earlier. However, Lucas replied that he still wanted to see Freeway fight. Hearing this, Freeway threatens that if Lucas doesn't release him immediately, Freeway and all his men will make a big mess in the prison. The scene moves to Savage, who is being visited by a female lawyer named Anna. There, Anna tells him she is a special lawyer for ex-Marines who will help free ex-Marines when they are imprisoned. Anna said that she could quickly free Savage. However, since Savage was on a secret mission, he refused Anna's help. In the end, Anna gave Savage her business card and asked Savage to contact her immediately if Savage needed her. The next day, Savage was seen eating with Bones. Suddenly, Freeway arrived and told Savage not to get too big of a head because he had only won one fight. Later that night, Savage fought another Asian prisoner. The fight was resolved quickly because Savage hit his opponent's face hard. Seeing Savage's victory, Freeway became even angrier because he feared that Savage would replace him as the champion of the prison. The next day, when Savage was on the move, he was suddenly attacked by some of Freeway's men. A female warden saw this and tried to break it up, but unfortunately, she was stabbed by Freeway's men. Savage, who was very angry with Freeway, immediately went to Lucas and asked him to match him with Freeway immediately. Lucas, however, said that Savage was still unable to defeat the champion. Still, Savage insisted that he be matched with Freeway. Later that night, Lucas took Freeway and two of his men to the basement. There, Lucas immediately finished off Freeway's two men. Then, Lucas said it was all punishment for Freeway's men who had dared to injure the female warden. Lucas also said that tomorrow night, he would have a match with Savage. In the morning, Savage and Bones were seen training to face Freeway. Savage also takes the time to inform Clark about the situation in the prison. Night fell, and it was time for Savage to battle Freeway. After fighting and throwing their strongest punches at each other, Savage defeated Freeway. The next day, it seemed that all the prisoners bowed to Savage because now Savage was the champion. Not long after, Lucas called Savage. There, Lucas thanked Savage because the video of his fight last night sold very expensive. Lucas then took Savage on a tour of the prison and said that now Lucas plans to make Savage the leader of the prisoners in this prison. Lucas also took Savage to a drug manufacturing facility inside the prison. As it turns out, he was right all along because Lucas is a drug dealer in the guise of the head warden. After that, Lucas showed the bodies of the two Freeway men he had killed yesterday. Lucas says that he really cares about Savage. Lucas even finished off two of Freeway's men who had intended to harm Savage yesterday. After hearing all that, Savage still refused Lucas's offer. The rejection certainly made Lucas a little angry. Then, Lucas took Savage to his room to meet someone. Arriving there, Savage was shocked because the person was Clark. It turns out that all this time, Clark and Lucas have been working together in the business of selling fighting videos in prison and being a drug dealer. From the first time Clark saw Savage, he was attracted by Savage's prowess as a former war marine. Clark deliberately deceives Savage by saying that Savage will be given a secret mission in this prison, which is all just Clark's trap. Not long after, Lucas released Bones, Savage's best friend who had been held captive by him. Lucas threatens to kill Bones if Savage doesn't want to join him. Reluctantly, Savage finally had to do everything Lucas said, namely become a fighter and help manage drugs there. At night, while in the cell, Savage is seen planning something with Bones. The next day, Savage and Bones secretly invited all the prisoners there to attack Lucas and all the warders on duty. In the afternoon, Savage is visited again by lawyer Anna. That's when Savage asked Anna for help to immediately report all the events in this prison to the FBI. Savage also provided all the evidence he had obtained. The next day, we are shown Lucas and Clark, who have just brought in a new fighter from another prison, so that at night, the fighter dueled with Savage. After what seems like a one-sided fight, Savage finally manages to subdue his opponent. Then, Savage ordered all the prisoners there to attack Lucas and all his men at this time. Amid the chaos, Lucas tried to escape, but Savage managed to catch up with Lucas. That's when Lucas pulled out his gun and fired it straight at Savage. Luckily, Bones arrived and immediately beat Lucas and saved Savage. When they were caught off guard, Lucas took his gun, and in the end, Bones and Savage were cornered by Lucas. Luckily, the FBI troops arrived on time and immediately arrested Lucas. It turns out that the FBI troops came to the prison thanks to Anna's report, who quickly responded to Savage's report and immediately raided the prison. Anna also said that the government would immediately release Savage and cover all of her daughter's surgery costs. In fact, the government also intends to recruit Savage to become a member of the FBI. Finally, Savage is released from prison and does not forget to thank Bones for being his best friend while in prison. After getting out of prison, Savage is seen immediately meeting his beloved daughter. Meanwhile, Lucas is also seen wearing prisoner's clothes because he will soon be sentenced to be responsible for his mistakes. And the movie is over. Don't forget to click subscribe, like and comment.